Imagine scrubbing floors for a grumpy billionaire, dreaming of a day off, when, bam, he dies, and you're handed his millions. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Wrong. This isn't the happily ever after you'd expect. It's a roller coaster of shock, betrayal, and jaw-dropping twists no one saw coming. Meet a maid who went from rags to riches overnight, only to stumble into a dark secret that flips her world upside down. You think wealth solves everything? Think again. Her inheritance comes with enemies, lies, and a truth so wild it'll leave you reeling. Want to know how she survives the chaos? Stick around, you won't believe what's hiding behind the fortune. She'd always thought life was predictable, wiping down counters, folding crisp linens, and dodging the occasional grumble from her boss, a billionaire with a temper as big as his fortune. But then, shock hit like a thunderclap. He was gone. Dead. No one expected it, not the staff, not the tabloids, not even Ethan Walker, his slick lawyer who'd seen it all. She stood there, a maid in a faded apron, never dreaming his passing would rewrite her entire story. What happens next? Oh, you won't believe it. It wasn't just the death that rattled her, it was the how. Whispers floated through the mansion's marble halls, a heart attack, sure, but something felt off. The staff traded glances, wondering if there was more to this dark past uncovered. She'd seen him pop pills like candy, heard him mutter about enemies, but she'd chalked it up to a rich man's paranoia. Now, those moments haunted her. A lesson lingered in the air: never assume you know someone's whole story. Picture this: one day you're scrubbing floors, the next you're tied to a mystery bigger than you ever imagined. That's where she found herself, caught in the swirl of a billionaire's secret. She'd always figured her biggest win would be a raise, maybe a kind word from Olivia Singh, the estate manager who ran a tight ship. But his death. It flipped the script. Life's funny that way, it hands you a fortune and a mystery when you least expect it. Death has a way of shaking things loose, doesn't it? For her, it wasn't just about losing a job, it was about losing the normal she'd clung to. She'd spent years serving, invisible, thinking that was her lot. But hidden truths don't stay buried forever. His passing cracked open a door she didn't even know existed. If you've ever felt stuck, take note, sometimes the end of one thing is the start of something wilder. The news hit the papers hard, headlines screaming about the billionaire's last wish. She skimmed them over lukewarm coffee, her hands trembling. Why her? She wasn't family, wasn't even close to him, or so she thought. Yet, here she was, a maid-to-millionaire tale unfolding in real time. It's the kind of twist that makes you wonder, what's lurking in your own life, waiting to change everything? Sure, it sounds like a fairy tale, rags to riches, overnight shock. But real life isn't that tidy. She couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just luck. Ethan Walker's sharp eyes lingered on her too long at the staff briefing, like he knew something she didn't. A life-changing secret was brewing, and she was smack in the middle. Ever had a hunch that turned your world upside down? That's where she was headed. Grief mingled with curiosity as she replayed their last chat, him joking about her coffee skills, her laughing it off. Now, that memory felt heavy, loaded with a will with conditions she couldn't yet grasp. The billionaire's death wasn't just an ending, it was a beginning she never saw coming. And trust me, what happens next will leave you reeling, because no one, not even her, expected the room to fall silent when his will was read. The room buzzed with tension, heavy with the scent of old leather and polished wood, as the lawyer cracked open the will. Everyone expected the usual: family, charities, maybe a loyal dog getting a trust fund. But then, shock, her name, a maid's name, echoed off the walls. Ethan Walker's voice didn't waver, but his eyebrows shot up, and you won't believe the gasps that followed. No one expected this twist, not even her, standing there, heart pounding like a drum. What happens next? Oh, it's a doozy. She froze, her dusty shoes squeaking on the hardwood, while fancy suits and pearls turned to stare. A billionaire's secret spilled out in black ink, and suddenly, she wasn't just the help anymore. Olivia Singh, perched in a corner, scribbled notes, her face a mask of disbelief. The lesson here? Life can flip on a dime, and sometimes the hidden truths you never chased come chasing you. Ever been blindsided by something you didn't see coming? That's her now. It's not every day you go from wiping down chandeliers to being the star of a will reading. The air thickened with whispers, some sharp, some jealous, as Ethan read on, millions, properties, a fortune and a mystery dumped in her lap. She'd always thought the billionaire saw her as background noise, not the key to his last wish. Imagine finding out you're not who you thought you were. Wild, right? That's the ride she's on. The family glared, their polished masks slipping into scowls. Why her? They hissed, like she'd planned this Maid to Millionaire saga. She hadn't, heck, she'd barely dared to dream beyond her next paycheck. But there it was, a will with conditions she couldn't yet unravel, turning her world upside down. A tip: when opportunity knocks, even if it's cloaked in chaos, don't run from it, lean in. Shock doesn't even cover it, she felt like she'd stepped into someone else's life. The numbers danced in her head, millions, a mansion, a legacy of lies she didn't sign up for. Ethan's steady gaze met hers, hinting at more to come, while Olivia muttered about paperwork. It's the kind of moment that teaches you, sometimes the unexpected inheritance isn't just money, it's a whole new game. And she was about to play. Her mind raced back to late nights scrubbing floors, wondering if this was some cosmic joke. Love, money, and betrayal swirled in the murmurs around her. Had she missed something all those years? The billionaire's last wish wasn't just a gift, it was a puzzle, a hidden clause waiting to trip her up. If you've ever doubted your worth, take this to heart: the universe might see more in you than you do. A hush fell as Ethan folded the papers, the room crackling with what happens next. She stood there, a nobody-turned heiress, dazed by this life-changing secret. The air felt electric, like the calm before a storm. No one, not her, not the scowling relatives, could have guessed she'd be the one to inherit it all. But as the whispers grew, one thing was clear: this was just the beginning of the truth behind the fortune. Morning broke, and she woke up not to an alarm but to a reality that felt like a dream. Overnight, she'd gone from counting pennies to counting millions, a Maid-to-Millionaire tale no one expected. The kitchen she once scrubbed was now hers, part of an unexpected inheritance that hit like a tidal wave. Ethan Walker had dropped off keys and a smirk, saying, "Welcome to the big leagues. You won't believe how fast life can shift gears." What happens next? Buckle up. She wandered the mansion, her old mop replaced by a title, heiress. The shock still lingered, but so did a thrill. Imagine trading a threadbare coat for a closet of designer threads. Olivia Singh called it a logistics nightmare, handing her a stack of papers thicker than a novel. The lesson? Wealth doesn't erase who you were, it just gives you a louder mic. Ever dreamed of a big break? This was hers, unasked for and unreal. The staff she'd once joked with now nodded stiffly, unsure how to treat their former equal. From servant to heiress, it's the kind of jump that'd make anyone dizzy. She caught her reflection in a gilded mirror, still seeing the maid, not the millionaire. A fortune and a mystery clung to her like a shadow, whispering, "This is yours now." It's a reminder, sometimes the universe hands you a script you didn't audition for. Bank accounts swelled, but so did the questions. She'd always figured rich folks had it easy. Turns out, money comes with strings attached, an inheritance with a hidden clause. Ethan warned her to watch her back, his tone sharp as a knife. The billionaire's last wish had painted a target on her, and she was learning fast: wealth isn't just power, it's a spotlight. Ever noticed how blessings can feel like burdens? She tried splurging, bought a coffee maker fancier than her old paycheck, but the thrill faded quick. The real shock wasn't the cash, it was the shift in her soul. Hidden truths bubbled up: she wasn't just inheriting a fortune, but a dark past uncovered. Olivia muttered about audits, but her mind was elsewhere. Why her? If you've ever climbed a ladder fast, you know, the view's great, but the drop's scary. Friends from her old life texted, half joking, half odd, spill the billionaire's secret. She laughed, but it stung. Love, money, and betrayal weren't just gossip now, they were her story. She wasn't ready for the whispers claiming she didn't deserve it, a legacy of lies snapping at her heels. Here's a nugget: when life hands you a windfall, it's not just about enjoying it, it's about owning it. By dusk, she sat on a velvet couch, staring at chandeliers she once dusted, a life-changing secret sinking in. The truth behind the fortune wasn't all glitz, it was gritty, messy, and hers to figure out. Ethan's cryptic "good luck" echoed in her head, hinting at trouble brewing. No one expected her to rise this fast, but rise she did. And just when she thought she'd caught her breath, a murmur started. Was there more to this than money? The whispers started soft, like rustling leaves, but soon they stung like wasps. She doesn't deserve it, they hissed, old colleagues, distant cousins, even strangers on the street. Shock rippled through her as she overheard it at a cafe, her latte turning cold. No one expected a maid to snag an unexpected inheritance, and now the billionaire's secret was fuel for their fire. Ethan Walker shrugged it off when she asked, but his silence said plenty. What happens next? You won't believe the venom brewing. She'd barely settled into her new life when the doubts crept in. Why her? The fortune and a mystery she'd inherited came with a chorus of skeptics, their voices sharp with envy. Olivia Singh warned her about the rumor mill, saying, people hate a Cinderella story when it's not theirs. It's a brutal lesson, rise too fast, and folks'll dig for a dark past uncovered just to drag you down. Ever felt judged for a win you earned? They didn't just whisper, they speculated. She tricked him, some said, she's hiding something, others swore. The Maid to Millionaire jump was too big, too sudden, and they couldn't swallow it. She caught Ethan staring at old photos in the study, his jaw tight. Did he know the hidden truths too? It's like life handed her a prize and a puzzle, daring her to prove she belonged. The doubters? They were loud, but she was listening harder. Take a second to picture it, you're sipping champagne in a mansion, but the air's thick with suspicion. That's her reality now, a will with conditions sparking a legacy of lies she didn't write. She'd scrubbed floors for years, invisible, yet now they claimed she'd schemed her way to millions. A tip from her old self: when folks doubt you, dig into why, it's often more about them than you. The whispers grew bolder, hinting at love, money, and betrayal, juicy stuff that sold papers. Was she more than a maid? They sneered, twisting the billionaire's last wish into scandal. She laughed it off at first, but the sting lingered. Had she missed a life-changing secret in those quiet years? Olivia muttered about PR damage, but the real hit was personal. Ever had your story twisted by folks who don't know you? She started second-guessing herself. Maybe she didn't deserve this after all. The truth behind the fortune felt slippery, like a shadow she couldn't catch. Ethan dropped a casual, ignore them, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of worry. An inheritance with strings attached tightened around her, and the noise wasn't just outside, it was in her head now. Here's the kicker: doubt's a thief, and it was robbing her peace. By nightfall, the murmurs felt like a chorus, each note questioning her right to this wealth. A hidden clause in her new life loomed: why did they hate her so much? She wasn't just fighting gossip, she was facing a storm no one expected. The billionaire's death had unleashed more than money, it had cracked open a vault of resentment. And just when she thought she'd heard it all, a letter arrived, ominous and sealed. The letter arrived like a ghost at her door, yellowed paper, his spidery handwriting, a shock from beyond the grave. She tore it open, expecting a simple note, but you won't believe what it said: trust no one, not even yourself. The billionaire's secret took on a new edge, his last wish now an ominous riddle. Ethan Walker had mentioned offhand that the old man loved games, but this? This was no game. What happens next felt like a cliffhanger she couldn't skip. Her hands shook as she read it again, the words sinking in like cold rain. Not everything is as it seems, he'd written, and suddenly her unexpected inheritance felt less like a gift and more like a trap. Olivia Singh caught her staring at it, asking, "What's wrong?" But she couldn't answer. A lesson hit hard. Sometimes the truth behind the fortune comes with a warning label. Ever get a gut feeling that changes everything? That's her now. She tucked the letter away, but its weight lingered, a fortune and a mystery pressing on her chest. He'd known something big, and left her to uncover it. The maid-to-millionaire story she'd been living. It was crumbling into a dark past uncovered. Imagine finding a note that flips your whole reality, like discovering your favorite book's ending was a lie. She was there, reeling. The mansion felt different that night, shadows stretching longer, whispers louder. A will with conditions had seemed quirky before, now it was sinister, an inheritance with strings attached she couldn't untangle. Ethan's casual, he was eccentric, didn't cut it anymore, she needed answers. Here's a nugget: when life hands you a puzzle, don't just sit there, start piecing it together. She reread it by lamplight, hunting for hidden truths between the lines. Beware the shadows, he'd added, and her mind raced, shadows of doubt. People, love, money, and betrayal danced in her head, a legacy of lies taking shape. Olivia had once joked about his flair for drama, but this felt personal. Ever wonder if someone's watching you a little too closely? She did now. Sleep dodged her as the billionaire's last wish morphed into a haunting echo. Why warn her now, after he was gone? The letter wasn't just a message, it was a life-changing secret, a hidden clause inked in dread. She wasn't just an heiress, she was a target. If you've ever felt the ground shift under you, you get it, stability's an illusion when the stakes climb this high. By dawn, she was pacing, the letter a ticking bomb in her mind. No one expected a dead man to reach out, but here he was, stirring the pot. The truth behind the fortune was unraveling, and she wasn't sure she wanted to see the endgame. Ethan's knock at the door jolted her. Did he know about this? Something told her the shadows weren't just in the letter, they were closing in. She sensed it before she saw it, a chill in the air, a glance held too long. Someone wanted her fortune, and they weren't asking nicely. The shock of the letter still buzzed in her veins, but now it was war. Ethan Walker had warned her about vultures circling, and you won't believe how fast they swooped. No one expected this maid-to-millionaire tale to turn cutthroat. What happens next? It's a fight she didn't sign up for. The first sign came subtle, a missing file, a locked drawer tampered with. Enemies in the shadows didn't announce themselves with trumpets, they crept. Olivia Singh tightened security, muttering about greedy hands, but the threat felt closer than that. A lesson sank in: wealth isn't just a prize, it's a magnet for trouble. Ever had someone eye your slice of the pie? That's her daily now. She caught a figure lingering near the gate one night, too quick to ID, too bold to ignore. The billionaire's secret wasn't just hers to keep, it was theirs to steal. A fortune and a mystery dangled like bait, and she was the fish, or maybe the shark. Ethan's calm, "we'll handle it," didn't soothe her, she'd seen his knuckles whiten. Life's funny, one day you're invisible, the next you're a target. The whispers from before. They'd grown teeth. She doesn't deserve it, became, she won't keep it, and the stakes climbed. An inheritance with strings attached tightened its grip, someone knew the hidden clause, the truth behind the fortune. She started locking doors she'd never bothered with. Here's a tip: when you're on top, watch your back, gravity's a sneaky thief. She found a note slipped under her door, unsigned, scrawled, "Give it up or lose it all." Love, money, and betrayal weren't just rumors now, they were weapons. Olivia suggested hiring guards, but she hesitated. Could she trust anyone? The billionaire's last wish had sparked a fire, and she was in the blaze. Ever feel like the walls are closing in? That's her, cornered but not cowering. By week's end, tires screeched outside, a window cracked, and her pulse raced. A legacy of lies wasn't just history, it was hunting her. Ethan's late-night calls grew cryptic, hinting at names she didn't know. The Maid-to-Millionaire dream was a battlefield now, and she was learning fast: power isn't given, it's defended. If you've ever fought for what's yours, you know the rush. The mansion loomed larger, less a home and more a cage. No one expected her to face this, but here she was, a life-changing secret, her only shield. The enemies weren't just shadows, they were flesh and blood, ready to strike. She clutched the billionaire's letter, its warning now a lifeline. And then she noticed something odd about the house itself. She started wandering the mansion, really wandering, not just dusting corners but prying into them. The place held clues, she could feel it, a shock tingling up her spine. Ethan Walker had called it a relic, but you won't believe what she found behind a loose panel. No one expected a house to talk, but this one was spilling a billionaire's secret. What happens next? It's a treasure hunt with a dark twist. The first discovery was small, a faded photo of a woman, tucked in a drawer, eyes hauntingly familiar. A fortune and a mystery lived in these walls, and she was peeling it back layer by layer. Olivia Singh caught her snooping, laughing, "You're worse than a kid at Christmas," but her tone sharpened when she saw the picture. A lesson clicked: sometimes the past hides in plain sight. Ever stumble on something that shifts your perspective? She traced creaky stairs to the attic, finding trunks stuffed with letters, receipts, odd trinkets. The Maid-to-Millionaire shift was wild enough, but this? A dark past uncovered in dusty handwriting. The billionaire's last wish wasn't random, these clues screamed intent. Imagine digging through your own attic and finding a map to your life. It's that kind of rush, but spookier. One night, a thud led her to a bookshelf that swung open, yes, like in the movies. A hidden clause in the house itself, a secret room she hadn't dared enter yet. Ethan's offhand "old houses have quirks" felt hollow now, she was onto something big. Here's a pro move: when life gets weird, follow the breadcrumbs, even if they're creepy. The deeper she went, the heavier it got: love, money, and betrayal etched in faded ink. A note mentioned debts unpaid, and her gut twisted: was this why enemies circled? The truth behind the fortune wasn't just in the will, it was here, in the bones of this place. Olivia's "be careful" echoed as she brushed cobwebs away. Ever feel a space knows more than you? She found a ledger, names, dates, sums that didn't add up. A legacy of lies sprawled across yellowed pages, and she wasn't just an heiress, she was a detective now. The unexpected inheritance came with a history she hadn't bargained for. If you've ever uncovered a family secret, you get it, it's thrilling until it's not. By candlelight, she sat surrounded by relics, a life-changing secret unfolding. No one expected the mansion to be more than a prize, it was a vault of hidden truths. Ethan's knock startled her, his "need help" too casual. The walls whispered, and she listened, knowing one room still held the key. Something told her she'd need courage for what was behind that locked door. She'd eyed that door since day one, heavy oak, rusted lock, a "keep out" vibe screaming mystery. The shock came when she found the key, slipped inside a book he'd loved. You won't believe how her hands trembled as it clicked open. No one expected a maid to crack this billionaire's secret. Ethan Walker had dodged her questions about it, and now she knew why. What happens next? It's the kind of reveal that rewrites everything. The room smelled of time, mothballs, dust, secrets. A fortune and a mystery spilled out: photos, a locked box, a letter in his scrawl saying, "Forgive me." Her Maid-to-Millionaire journey slammed into a dark past uncovered. She wasn't just inheriting cash but a truth he'd buried. Olivia Singh's "don't meddle" rang hollow now. A lesson? Some doors hide more than cobwebs. She lifted a photo, him, younger, with a woman who wasn't his wife. Love, money, and betrayal stared back, a hidden clause in his life she'd stumbled into. The billionaire's last wish wasn't random, it was atonement. Imagine finding a skeleton in your closet, literal or not, it's that jolt, that rush of, oh no, and, keep going, all at once. The box yielded a will, older, scratched out, naming someone else. A legacy of lies clicked into place, he'd changed it, picked her, but why? Ethan's vague, he had regrets, made sense now, but it stung. Here's a tip, when you uncover the forbidden, brace yourself, it's rarely pretty. She sat there, piecing together a puzzle she hadn't asked for. Light flickered over a journal, his words, raw, spilling a life-changing secret. She saved me, he'd written, and her breath caught, was that her? The truth behind the fortune wasn't just wealth, it was guilt, a will with conditions he'd hidden. Olivia's shadow in the hall made her jump, how much did she know? Ever feel like you're holding dynamite? She found a locket, hers, tucked in a drawer, tying her to this mess deeper than she'd guessed. An inheritance with strings attached tightened its grip, and the room felt alive, whispering hidden truths. No one expected this twist, not even her, knees weak on the creaky floor. If you've ever faced a truth too big, you know, it's a weight and a wings moment. The air thickened as she closed the door, heart racing with what she'd unearthed. The billionaire's secret wasn't locked away anymore, it was hers, a burden and a power. Ethan's voice called from downstairs, casual but edged. The forbidden room had spilled its guts, and she couldn't unsee it. Something, or someone, from his past was about to step into her present. She sat on the floor, locket in hand, a shock rippling through her like a stone in still water. Was she more than a maid to him? The photos, the journal, they hinted at love, a hidden truth no one expected. You won't believe how it hit her, the billionaire's secret wasn't just money, it was her. Ethan Walker's "he trusted you" took on new weight. What happens next? It's a heart tug she didn't see coming. The journal painted it clear, he'd watched her, admired her, long before the will. Her laugh keeps me sane, he'd scribbled, and she blushed, remembering those late-night chats. A fortune and a mystery tied them, but this? A dark past uncovered where she was the light. Olivia Singh had once teased, "You're his favorite," was it more? Ever wonder if someone saw you when you didn't see yourself? She traced the locket's engraving, her initials, faded but there. Love, money, and betrayal swirled in her head, had he loved her, or used her? The maid-to-millionaire leap felt less random now, more like a billionaire's last wish with a pulse. Imagine finding out you mattered to someone big, it's a warm glow with a cold edge, and she felt both. His words grew tender in later pages, "She's my redemption." A will with conditions wasn't just legal, it was emotional, an inheritance with strings attached to her soul. Ethan's quiet, he was lonely, clicked into place, she'd filled a void. Here's a nugget, sometimes you're someone's anchor without knowing it. She'd been that, hadn't she? She remembered a night, him frail, her bringing tea, him smiling like she was gold. The truth behind the fortune wasn't cold cash, it was warm glances, a life-changing secret she'd lived without knowing. Olivia's "he was odd" didn't cover this, it was deeper, softer. Ever had a memory hit you sideways, rewriting what you thought you knew? The locket clicked open, a photo of her, younger, laughing. No one expected this twist, not her, not the staff who'd mocked her rise. A legacy of lies hid a love from the past, and she was its beating heart. Ethan's footsteps neared, did he know this too? If you've ever found a piece of yourself in someone else's story, you get the ache she felt. By dawn, she was lost in it, his words, her worth, a hidden clause tying them beyond death. The billionaire's secret wasn't just a fortune, it was a bond she'd never claimed. She wasn't just an heiress, she was his muse. And as that sank in, the ground shifted again with a darker truth waiting to break. She thought she'd hit bottom with the locket, but oh, you won't believe what came next. A crumpled letter in the journal's back, his handwriting, panicked, spilled the darkest revelation yet. The shock knocked her back. He hadn't just loved her, he'd lied to her. Ethan Walker's "he had secrets" was the understatement of the year. What happens next? It's a gut punch no one expected. He took everything, it read, naming a woman, her mother. The billionaire's secret wasn't sweet anymore, it was a dagger, a dark past uncovered that tied her family to his ruin. Olivia Singh's "he was complicated" didn't touch this, a fortune and a mystery built on betrayal. Ever learn a truth that flips your heroes into villains? That's her, drowning in it. Her mom, gone years ago, had worked here too, loved him too, until he'd cheated her out of something big. The Maid to Millionaire arc. A twisted echo of a legacy of lies he'd started decades back. The locket wasn't a gift, it was guilt, a hidden clause in his redemption. Imagine finding your roots in someone else's wreckage. She was there, shaking. The journal detailed it, her mom's dreams, crushed, his regret, too late. Love, money, and betrayal weren't just her story, they were her inheritance, a will with conditions spanning generations. Ethan's quiet visits made sense now, he'd known. Here's the raw deal, truth doesn't always set you free, sometimes it chains you to the past. She sat, numb, the truth behind the fortune a bitter pill. He'd picked her not for love, but to fix what he'd broken, a life-changing secret she wished she could unlearn. Olivia's "don't dig too deep" echoed mockingly, she'd dug, and it hurt. Ever feel like your life's a script someone else wrote? That's her, rereading her own plot. The mansion's glow faded, every chandelier, every rug, stained by this. An unexpected inheritance turned into an inheritance with strings attached tighter than she'd guessed. No one expected this twist, not her, not the enemies circling. If you've ever faced a truth that rewrites you, you know, it's a storm you can't outrun. She clutched the letter, tears smudging ink, a billionaire's last wish now a curse. Hidden truths had built her throne, but they were cracking it too. Ethan's knock came soft. Did he carry this weight too? The fortune wasn't hers to enjoy, it was hers to fight for, and the battle was just heating up. She barely had time to breathe before the fight crashed in. A lawyer, sharp suit, sharper tongue, served papers claiming the will was fake. Shock hit like a slap, someone wanted her fortune, and they were playing dirty. You won't believe the nerve, no one expected this Maid to Millionaire tale to face a courtroom. Ethan Walker's "we'll fight" was firm, but his eyes flickered. What happens next? It's all-out war. The claimant was a cousin, distant but vicious, screaming "fraud" to anyone who'd listen. A fortune and a mystery dangled in the balance, and she was the target. Olivia Singh scrambled legal help, muttering, "They smell blood." The lesson? Wealth's a beacon, shine too bright, and the sharks come. Ever had someone try to snatch your dream? That's her, fists clenched. She sat through meetings, head spinning, terms like contested estate and hidden clause flying fast. The billionaire's secret fueled their case. If he'd lied before, why not now? Ethan dug into old files, but the cousin's team had cash and spite. It's like building a sandcastle just to watch the tide roll in, except she wasn't letting it fall easy. Court loomed, and whispers grew, love, money, and betrayal spun into their narrative. She seduced him, they sneered, twisting her unexpected inheritance into scandal. She laughed, bitter, seduce him with what, mop skills? Here's a tip, when they attack, stand tall, truth's your armor, even if it's dented. She was learning that the hard way. Threats escalated, anonymous calls, a brick through a window. A legacy of lies wasn't just history, it was ammunition, and they had plenty. Olivia's "stay strong" felt thin as the cousin smirked across a table. The truth behind the fortune was her shield, but it was cracking. Ever feel like you're one step from losing it all? That's her daily now. She found a note in her car, drop it or else. The billionaire's last wish had sparked a firestorm, an inheritance with strings attached pulling tighter. Ethan's late-night strategy talks grew tense. He knew more than he let on. No one expected this fight, not her, not the staff watching wide-eyed. If you've battled for what's yours, you know, it's exhausting but electric. By week's end, she was drained but defiant, a life-changing secret her only edge. The cousin's eyes gleamed with greed. She wasn't just fighting for money, but for her name, her truth. The mansion echoed with strain, and she wondered, who else was in on this? The battle wasn't over, but the power of what she knew was about to shift the game. She held the journal like a grenade, its pages, her ammo. The power of a secret pulsed in her hands, a shock she hadn't expected. You won't believe how it hit her. What she knew could ruin lives, not just hers. Ethan Walker's "Be Careful" took on new bite. No one expected this maid to wield a billionaire's secret like a sword. What happens next? It's a tightrope she's walking. The cousin's smug grin faltered when she hinted at old debts in court. Hidden truths weren't just her burden, they were her leverage, a fortune and a mystery-turned weapon. Olivia Singh's "Don't play dirty" clashed with her gut. Why not? The lesson? Knowledge isn't just power, it's a wrecking ball if you swing it right. Ever held a trump card you didn't want? She tested it, dropped a name from the ledger, watched the lawyer blanch. A dark past uncovered wasn't abstract now, it was names, dates, reputations dangling by threads. Ethan's quiet, "You sure about this?" didn't stop her. She was done playing nice. Imagine knowing a truth so big it could topple giants. That's her, teetering on the edge. The cousin wasn't alone, others hovered, tied to a legacy of lies she could unravel. Love, money, and betrayal laced every page, a hidden clause in the billionaire's life she'd cracked open. She didn't want to destroy anyone, but survival's a messy game. Here's a nugget: when you've got the upper hand, use it, but know the cost. Whispers shifted, less, "She doesn't deserve it," more, "What does she know?" The truth behind the fortune wasn't just hers to keep, it was hers to wield, an inheritance with strings attached she could pull. Olivia's "They're scared" confirmed it, fear was her currency now. Ever turn the tables on a bully? That's the rush she felt. She met the cousin's gaze across the courtroom, journal burning a hole in her bag. A life-changing secret could end this, or escalate it. Ethan's hand brushed hers, a silent "Your call." Did he want her to push? No one expected her to hold this power, not the maid, not the heiress. If you've ever had the chance to rewrite the rules, you get it. The air crackled as she waited, spill the billionaire's last wish, or hold it close. A will with conditions had handed her more than money, it had given her a loaded gun. She wasn't just fighting for wealth now, but for control. And just when she thought she'd decided, a new choice loomed, bigger than the cash. She sat alone, journal open, the locket beside it, a tug-of-war between love and wealth. The shock of it all still buzzed. Could she keep both, or was that a fairy tale? You won't believe how heavy it felt. No one expected this maid-to-millionaire story to hinge on her heart. Ethan Walker's "What do you want?" lingered, unanswered. What happens next? It's her soul on the line. The fortune glittered, mansion, millions, a life-changing secret she could cash in. But that locket, his words, "She saved me," pulled her back to something softer. Olivia Singh's "Money's easier" rang practical, but was it true? A lesson hit: wealth buys freedom, but love buys meaning. Ever had to pick between a dream and a feeling? That's her crossroads. She pictured walking away, dumping the inheritance with strings attached, living quiet. The cousin could have it, the enemies too, let them choke on their legacy of lies. But then she saw his face, frail, smiling at her tea tray, and her chest ached. A billionaire's secret had tied her to him. Could she cut that thread? It's like choosing between a paycheck and a hug, tough call. Ethan complicated it, his steady gaze, his "I'm here" vibe. Was it love, money, and betrayal brewing, or just loyalty? The truth behind the fortune dangled both in her grasp: cash to rule, or a past to honor. Here's a tip: when life forks, listen to your gut, it whispers what your head can't hear. She was trying, but it was loud in there. She wandered the mansion, fingers brushing walls he'd built, a fortune and a mystery she could claim or burn. The hidden clause wasn't just legal, it was emotional, a will with conditions testing her core. Olivia's "you can't lose" felt off. What if winning meant losing herself? Ever feel torn between who you were and who you could be? The cousin's sneer, the threats, they faded as she waited. A dark past uncovered had handed her power, but his love, real or not, handed her purpose. No one expected her to pause here, not the heiress with enemies circling. If you've ever stood at a cliff, deciding whether to jump or climb, you know, it's not the fall that scares you, it's the choice. By night, she stared at the stars, a hidden truth pulsing. She didn't need to prove anything, to them, to him, to herself. The billionaire's last wish wasn't a command, it was a question. She could fight for the millions or walk with the memory. And just as she leaned one way, a voice she trusted cut through the dark. She turned, expecting Ethan's familiar grin. Instead, his eyes were cold, a shock that stole her breath. The person she trusted most, her rock, was a lie. You won't believe how it stung. No one expected this twist in her Maid to Millionaire saga. I had to, he said, voice flat, and the billionaire's secret took a sinister turn. What happens next? It's a knife in the back she didn't see coming. He'd been feeding the cousin info, dates, secrets, her every move. A fortune and a mystery she'd shared with him, now ammo against her. Olivia sings "He's too smooth" clicked too late. She'd missed the hidden clause in his loyalty. The lesson? Trust's a gamble, and she'd bet wrong. Ever lean on someone only to fall through? She replayed it, his late calls, his "don't worry," all a dance of love, money, and betrayal. The journal, the locket, he'd known their weight, used them to play her. A dark past uncovered wasn't just the billionaire's, it was Ethan's too. Imagine your best friend flipping the script. It's that gut drop, that "how could you" scream she swallowed. He stood there, unapologetic, claiming it was business. A legacy of lies stretched beyond the grave, and he'd cashed in. The truth behind the fortune wasn't hers alone, he'd sold it, sold her, for a cut. Here's the raw truth: betrayal doesn't shout, it whispers, and she'd missed the sound till now. She'd shown him the letter, the ledger, her shield turned sword in his hands. An inheritance with strings attached tightened, but now she saw who pulled them. Olivia's "watch your back" wasn't enough, Ethan was the shadow she'd feared. Ever feel dumb for trusting? That's her, fists balled, heart cracked. He tried explaining, money, pressure, a life-changing secret he couldn't resist. But it rang hollow against the billionaire's last wish, against her faith in him. No one expected this, not her, not the staff who'd liked his charm. If you've been stabbed by loyalty, you know, it's not the cut that kills, it's the surprise. She faced him, voice steady, "Get out." A will with conditions had built her up, and now a dangerous betrayal tore it down. The mansion echoed with her rage, but a flicker of strength sparked too. Ethan's exit left a void, and a choice she couldn't dodge. The fight wasn't over, but the rules had just changed. She stood in the foyer, the mansion silent, Ethan's betrayal still burning. The ultimate decision loomed: walk away or fight. Shock lingered, but you won't believe the fire it lit. No one expected this Maid to Millionaire tale to hinge on grit. The billionaire's secret was hers to keep or ditch. What happens next? It's her call, and it's a big one. Walking away tempted her, dump the fortune and a mystery, let the cousin gloat. She could vanish, start fresh, free of a legacy of lies. Olivia sings "You don't owe anyone" rang true, why bleed for this? But a lesson simmered: running's easy, fighting's growth. Ever faced a fork where both paths scare you? That's her, staring it down. Fighting meant war, court, threats, a hidden clause she'd have to wield alone. The truth behind the fortune was hers, battered but real, an inheritance with strings attached she could still pull. She pictured the billionaire's smile, her mom's name in ink. Could she let that go? It's like choosing to fix a wrecked car or junk it, both hurt, but one keeps you rolling. She paced, love, money, and betrayal tangling in her head. Walking away was peace, fighting was power. Ethan's stab had weakened her, but not broken her. She'd trusted wrong, not lived wrong. Here's a nugget: when life kicks you, kick back, or at least stand up. She was wobbling, but upright. The cousin's smirk flashed in her mind, a dark past uncovered she could bury or burn. A life-changing secret pulsed, hers to lose or leverage. Olivia's "you're enough" stuck. Did she need the millions to prove it? Imagine staring down a bully who's already won half the fight. That's her, deciding if round two's worth it. She touched the locket, his words, "She saved me," a billionaire's last wish tugging her heart. The mansion loomed, a prize and a prison, a will with conditions daring her to claim it. No one expected her next move, not even her, teetering on the edge. If you've ever had to bet on yourself, you know, it's scary, but it's yours. By dawn, her jaw set, eyes clear, a choice clicked, quiet but firm. An unexpected inheritance had dragged her here, but she'd drag it where she wanted. The battle wasn't over, and neither was she. And as she turned to face the day, a new beginning whispered through the cracks. She woke to sunlight, a decision made, a shock of calm settling in. You won't believe how it felt. No one expected this Maid to millionaire arc to land here. The billionaire's secret had unraveled her past, and now her future gleamed. Ethan Walker was gone, but Olivia Singh's "You've Got This" stuck. What happens next? It's a fresh page she's writing. She dug deeper, found her mom's old letters, hidden in a trunk, tying her to this place. A fortune and a mystery cleared. Her mom hadn't just worked here, she'd shaped him, and he'd shaped her back. A dark past uncovered turned soft, love, not betrayal, at its root. Ever find a missing piece that fits just right? That's her, smiling through tears. The cousin backed off, her leverage, the journal, had worked. A legacy of lies faded as she claimed the truth behind the fortune, an inheritance with strings attached she'd cut or kept as she chose. Olivia handed her coffee, grinning, "New boss, huh? It's like planting a garden after a storm, messy, but yours." She walked the grounds, free of shadows, a life-changing secret now a strength. The billionaire's last wish wasn't a burden, it was a gift, a will with conditions she'd mastered. No one expected her to rise this high, not the doubters, not herself. Here's the gold: your past doesn't own you, it fuels you, if you let it. She kept the mansion, but made it hers, opened rooms, aired out ghosts. A hidden clause in her story closed. She wasn't just an heiress, but a woman reborn. Ethan's betrayal. A scar, not a chain. Imagine shedding a skin you didn't know you wore. That's her, lighter, bolder. The locket stayed close, a nod to love, money, and betrayal survived. She wasn't the maid anymore, nor just a millionaire, she was whole. Olivia's "What now?" sparked a laugh. Anything, everything. If you've ever rebuilt after a wreck, you get it, the cracks make the view better. By dusk, she stood tall, the truth about her past a ladder to her future. A new beginning stretched wide. No one expected this ending, but it fit. The billionaire's secret had broken her, then built her stronger. And as the stars winked, she knew, this was just the start. And there you have it, a wild ride from a maid's mop to a millionaire's mansion, with secrets dark enough to keep you up at night. She fought, she fell, and she rose, proving the truth behind the fortune was worth more than the cash. What hit you hardest, Ethan's betrayal, the locket's reveal, or her final stand? Drop a like if you're still reeling, and share your favorite twist in the comments. Did you see that ending coming, or did it catch you off guard? Hit that follow button too. Next time, we're diving into another tale you won't believe. See you in the next one.